Hey guys, so I'm in a new location. Obviously, this is not my dorm room. I am home for the Jewish holiday, so reporting live from my kitchen. Sorry if my voice comes and goes or if I cough. I sound like a dying man because I'm sick. Okay, let's get to the good stuff. So, I'm Natalie. Sorry I missed class today. Missed you guys. We are going to be continuing our discussion in my vlog of Jan Morris's Conundrum. I want to focus on two quotes about Morris's transition from male to female and the effect it had on her in her life. Not only just the differences, but the continuities in her life, because, it's impossible to just, do a full 360. I think we all know that. Change is hard. And, if there's anything, if there's one thing we can take away from the book, is that change is inevitable, but it's also hard, and it's hard to cope with. And our protagonist, Jan Morris, goes through so much change. Okay. So the first quote can be found on page 83, and it says, "None of the climbers would have guessed, I am sure, how irrevocably distinct I felt from them. But they are aware that I was not a climber, and had been attached to the expedition only to watch." Once again, it can be found on page 83. So some background about the quote. Morris, I think we all know, had just been chosen to be a reporter on an expedition trip up Mount Everest. She was basically only chosen because she was there and was in pretty good shape. It would really prove her as a reporter and shape her career. So why did she feel distant from the climbers? At the time, they were all men. But she's still living this lie. It takes over her mind. It invades her thoughts. It does not allow her to fully immerse herself in her work. She says, she's a couple lines. I can't find the direct quote where she's like, this is my mind always wanders back to my gender and who I am. And it's just this, have you ever had an unresolved feeling? That's what it is. You always keep coming back to it and you can't really escape it. This quote also shows, we discussed in class a little bit, how she feels like a fly on the wall in the man's world. She's just watching all these men do manly things, not really actively participating in it. How she describes Otto and earlier in the memoir and all of his world adventures, but she's not really she rarely there's obviously an exception, but she rarely is actively participating in it. But not only does she feel like a fly on the wall in this man's world, but she's also a fly on the wall in her life because of this elephant in the room. Sorry for all the metaphors. She's unable to actively participate and be the man that she is supposed to be. It's hard for her to fulfill these manly roles of the father, the dad, the breadwinner, because her mind is elsewhere. And it's understandable. It's hard to accomplish anything when you have this huge issue, especially when it's that you're in the wrong body, that you don't feel comfortable in your own body. Okay, moving on. The second quote can be found really near the end of the book, on page 173, so obviously a lot has happened between this time. She's undergone the transition, and she says, "But if my sense of isolation has gone, my sense of difference remains, and this is inevitable." So one of the major continuities is that she still feels different. I feel that's a feeling that never goes away. A difference, obviously, she is not isolated anymore, which is good. She's no longer a fly on the wall. She's actively participating in her life. But the sense of difference, you can't she'll always carry this part of her with her. It'll always be part of her story, her conundrum. Well, this book is out there. People know her struggle. It'll never go away. And, I feel that's really important because, it's, James did live. They don't just disappear with Jan. I feel it's important to acknowledge his life and his accomplishments. And I feel Jan does a really good job. Morris, does a really good job of, making sure that, her past self is not ignored and isolated. It's really impossible to just erase difference. Everyone has something that makes them different, some quirk or piece of their identity that makes them different, and I feel that's a really big message we can get from this book, that instead of focusing on difference, we should focus on what transcends difference and what overrules it and what makes us as a human race, like, to how we are connected. And I feel like that's actually, like, really important, like, in today's day and age. And I love, just want to throw this in here really quickly, I love how she ends the book with her hope to one day transcend gender. And she says, like, maybe not in her life, but in a piece of art or something. And I feel like this kind of ties the whole thing together. Like, gender is a social construct, and I feel like if anyone was going to transcend gender, it would be Morris. I mean, like, it's impossible to be 100% male or 100% female. Like, it's very rare. Okay, I'll see you guys later.